Chapter 17, Firehouse Wedding. Firehouse 51 responded to a building fire where a wedding was being hosted. It cut the ceremony short, and the couple never got to read their vows and be officially announced husband and wife. So, being the romantic she was, Emerson got Gabby involved in what she felt like was a master plan. Gabby knocked on the chief's door. "Hey, chief, you got a second? Weller has a really good idea." The two women confidently and excitedly stood in front of Chief Bowden's desk. "Okay, so the bride and groom, Becca and David, well, I talked to her at the hospital, and her parents are flying back to Atlanta tomorrow at noon. Becca's father works 2 jobs, and he can't afford to lose either of them. The family poured all their money into that wedding." Gabby added to her story as Chief Bowden listened intently. "They're holding David overnight at Chicago Med for observation. Discharge is 7 a.m. So we were thinking we could host the wedding here, first thing in the morning." Emerson excitedly suggested, knowing it wasn't that crazy because she knew for sure they'd already done such a thing before, for Chief Bowden out of all people. "Here? At the firehouse." Gabby answered Chief Bowden. "Just like a simple thing. We could get flowers donated, put folding chairs on the apparatus floor." Chief cut her off, bringing them out of their daydream. "Should I invite Chief Riddle?" The two women had not realized that their chief was having such big trouble with Chief Riddle until he asked it. Just in case you have failed to notice, Riddle has made 51 his pet project. Right now, we need to keep our heads down. "Chief, we get it, but this family, they just lost everything," Gabby said, very compassionate with the family's situation. "I feel for this family. I really do. Our job is to protect them. We did that." He ended the conversation, dismissing them shortly after. With their heads hung low, they nodded and walked out of his office. "I thought you of all people would appreciate a firehouse wedding," Gabby said as she walked out, not giving him time to respond. The new firefighter had to head to headquarters for a meeting, so Emerson joined the men in the living area. "Wedding would have lifted spirits around here, I bet," Mouch stated, slouching on his chair. "I know. The vows, the music, a little cake," Emerson listed out with stars in her eyes. As bad as her love life currently was, she loved everything that had to do with love and romance. There was no denying it. "Yeah, and 2 smitten kids with a wide-open future ahead of them," Herman added. Also quite fond of the idea of love, especially after everything he and Cindy built for themselves throughout the years. Chili snorted. "Yeah?" Her words caught everyone's attention, making them all turn to face her. "I'm sorry, was that out loud? You got something against marriage?" Jimmy questioned, tilting his head to the side. She shrugged. "I mean, I'm sure for plenty of people it's all sunshine and roses." "Then why so down on it?" Emerson asked. She knew her partner wasn't the kind of person who loved love, but she didn't know how much. "Well, after they got married, my parents pretty much tried to kill each other every day. Then my mom got hooked on heroin and abandoned the family. So, not a believer." Chili announced, taking a sip of her coffee without noticing Emerson's jaw dropping. "Sorry you went through that, Chili," Jimmy said. "Yeah, sounds rough," Emerson added, feeling empathetic towards her partner. "Don't be sorry. Just don't ask me to marry you," she answered, winking at Jimmy before standing up and walking off. Emerson's eyes followed Chili, wondering if she was imagining things or her partner was openly flirting with Jimmy. Either way, she felt her heart jump at the thought. Later on, Gabby came back from her meeting all fired up, so Emerson, Casey, and Chief all joined her in the locker room right after the bride, Becca, and her mom came to see the firefighters. As soon as she told them that he mentioned the baby to her, their jaws dropped to the floor and their hands turned into fists. It was unfair, and it made them all angry. "We are having the wedding here," Bowden announced, making Emerson straighten up and her face light up. "I'll be damned if Chief Riddle or anyone else is going to change my way of running this house. He wants to fight. Then let's fight." Emerson didn't need much more information to get to wedding planning right away. It was naturally coming to her, since she'd done it before. "All right, people, we have a lot to do and not much time to do it," she announced in the living area, tapping her finger on her wooden notepad. "We're doing this tomorrow morning, so let's get to it. I put us in charge of flowers." Emerson pointed at Chili with her pen. "We can totally do that." The family's pastor can't be there, so we need a preacher who can perform the ceremony. Chaplain Orlovsky'll jump at the chance. I'll call him, Herman assured her, sitting down with his newspaper. Great, and we need music. Of course, a wedding march, and something for the reception, she said, staring at the men from Squad 3. Severide suggested an iPod, making her let out a sarcastic chuckle. No, it's a wedding, not a slumber party. I think you can do better than that. We'll see what else we can come up with. Okay, people, let's get to it. She smiled, excited to get the wedding going, only for the bell to ring not much later with a call for Ambo, and it was one they wouldn't forget about for a while. I think I pulled a muscle on that last call, Chili joked, holding her side of the gurney as they rolled it down the hallways of Chicago Med. That's definitely going in my tell-all memoir. I'm calling dibs. All yours. Emerson laughed before a shiver ran up her spine as she gave the situation some more thought. I do not get how someone could skip out on their husband for that, she said, frustrated about the call they just went on where a woman was caught in an upsetting position with their patient. It's pretty cute how outraged you are, Chili remarked, chuckling. Emerson lightly shrugged. Just because I can't make romance work doesn't mean it doesn't exist. She smiled at Chili before her eyes turned to the doctor standing near the nurse's station. Hey, Dr. Halstead, how's David Franklin from the house fire this morning? First of all, you know you can call me Will, he laughed, continuing. Second of all, his carbon monoxide levels were very high, but they're coming down with the oxygen. We also gave him a cyanide kit. All right, Will. She playfully rolled her eyes. You still expect to release him in the morning? Emerson asked, hopeful. Hope so. All he keeps talking about is the wedding and his bride-to-be, he told her, walking away from them after sending them a bright smile. Emerson turned to her partner. Oh, see, a man runs into a burning building to save the woman he loves. That's romance. Ah, Chili sarcastically responded, playing into Emerson's words. You want to hit up the florist across the street, see what we can get? Chili smirked, her eyes catching something at the other end of the building. You know what? I've got a better idea. Emerson parked the ambulance in their spot on the apparatus floor, both paramedics immediately going to the back. Hey guys, give us a hand? What you got? Gabby asked. Ta-da! Chili exclaimed as Emerson started grabbing the bouquets and handing them out. Whoa, jackpot! Herman whistled, impressed by all the flowers the paramedics brought back. With deepest sympathies, Mouch read out of the letter on the bouquet he was holding, confusion very clear in his tone. Courtesy of Shady Pines Mortuary. They were just going to toss this out, Chili excitedly told them, jumping in to grab a bouquet and holding it out to Jimmy. I see, so you hate weddings, but you'll find any excuse to hit up a funeral home, he stated, a smile lingering on his lips. You know it. Chili smirked at him, proud of herself. My kind of girl. Jimmy answered, handing back the bouquet to Chili when Casey announced they had to take a ride to pick up the chaplain. The firefighters ran off, leaving the paramedics to fend for themselves. Emerson noticed the chemistry between Jimmy and Chili, making her wonder if something was going on. She figured from his words that he was interested in her, and even though Emerson wasn't currently looking for anything, she felt slightly jealous. She got along well with Jimmy, and she found him easy to be around and on the eyes. The paramedic kind of wished she was his kind of girl, too, but she figured that if Chili was more his type, then good for her. She was just confused by the nature of their relationship. That was all. It's not like she was looking to forget someone else, too. Or so she thought. Later on shift, Emerson walked into the locker room only to find the person she was looking for, although he was wearing a lot less clothes than she thought he was going to be. She took a deep breath before walking up to him and sitting down on the bench near him. Jimmy took notice of her, sending her a smile as he put on his aftershave. So are you going to help us with the flower arrangements? She asked him, trying to gather as many hands as she could to sort through the many flowers they brought back. Yeah, of course. I grew up working in a flower shop. With furrowed eyebrows and a large smile, she asked, Really? He tilted his head to the side, smiling back. Are you kidding me? A family of firefighters who drank testosterone for breakfast? Emerson laughed in response, forcing herself to look away for a few seconds before he could catch her staring at his still uncovered chest. So, how are you so good at planning a wedding? She took a deep breath, forcing the smile to stay on her lips so she wouldn't alarm him. Personal experience. He chuckled. You don't let people in much, do you? Emerson shrugged and smirked. It depends. Some secrets are just hidden deeper than others. He hummed, leaning against the lockers. So, let me know if I've got you figured out. Settling down, getting married and all, that's the game plan for you. She shot him a small smile, standing from her position on the bench as she took a few steps to walk out of the room. It used to be. They came back from a call later on in the day, and it was already time for the wedding to take place. Patterson ended up agreeing to play guitar in accompaniment of a woman in Becca's family who sung a love song for the couple. Emerson sat next to Chili, tears in her eyes the whole time. The chaplain's speech was beautiful, and so was the ceremony, which went smoothly. Emerson was more than grateful for it, and she was also very proud. After shift, Emerson walked out with Jimmy, who insisted to walk her up to her car since it was dark outside. She just laughed, telling him she wasn't parked too far, but he insisted. So first fire today, huh? Tell me about it, she asked him, excited for him. It must have been thrilling. Plus, she heard Casey congratulating him on it, telling him he did well. Oh, man. Nothing can prepare you for that real thing. When you walk into a real fire, it's chaos. The heat, the smoke, you can't see anything. Your mask feels like it's too tight. Then there's Lieutenant Casey, and he's calm and in control, and that makes me feel calm. He paused as she turned towards him, smiling widely at his excitement. Emerson felt this buzz all around them, like the excitement from the day they had was overwhelming, and she found herself wishing it wouldn't ever stop. The paramedic didn't even realize how close they were standing until her eyes landed on his lips before glancing up to his eyes, who were frozen on her parted lips. Their breathing mixed together as he leaned in, pressing his lips to hers softly. Her lips curved up as he pulled away, looking into her eyes as he waited for a response. I thought you liked Chili, she admitted. After all, that's definitely the viddy their chemistry gave off. He let out a low chuckle, shaking his head. I'm more into the commitment kind of thing. Emerson let out a breathy laugh, leaning back in to kiss him again.